puts us in touch with God, puts God in touch with our situation. He'll work on it, work in it, and work with it till He works it out for our good. Amen. We're going to have another selection. We do the offering at the end of the service, so we won't interrupt our streaming process, because we are live streaming at this time on Facebook. Amen. So we'll have a selection. I'll come back, share a word from God's word from the Old Testament record of Numbers chapter 21. Numbers chapter 21, verses 4 through 9. All right? Let's hear from the music ministry. Bless the Lord. We ought to worship him. Not because he gave us this and gave us that. But worship him because of who he is. He's God Almighty. He's our keeper. He's our protector. He's our shelter. He's our rock in a weary land. He's our leaning post. He's the lifter up of our head. He defeats our enemies. He makes straight the way. We ought to worship him because of who he is. And I say all the time, he is what he does, and he does what he is. Somebody give God a praise up there. Hey, amen. Amen, amen. Amen. We thank God for this day that he has made. Certainly we will rejoice and be glad in it. And at any time, people of God ought to be rejoicing, ought to be now, because our God is a keeper. Amen. That is a word from the Lord. We invite our attention to the Old Testament record of Numbers, chapter 21. And we'll read for our hearing verses 4 through 9. Numbers chapter 21, verses 4 through 9. Here we find these inspired and I hope inspiring writings. Then they journeyed from Mount Horeb by the way of the Red Sea to go around the land of Edom. And the soul of the people became very discouraged on the way.
All right.
And the people spoke against God and against Moses. Here's what they said. Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no food and no water, and our soul loathes this worthless bread. They're talking about the manna that God supplied for them in the wilderness. They didn't go hungry, but now they're saying we hate the bread. Yeah. So the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and many of the people of Israel died. Therefore the people came to Moses and said, we have sinned, for we have spoken against the Lord and against you. You gotta be careful talking against the Lord and the Lord's leaders. Amen. And they said to Moses, pray to the Lord that he take away the serpents from us. So Moses prayed for the people. Then the Lord said to Moses, make a fiery serpent, set it on a pole, and it shall be that everyone who is bitten, this is the New King James Version, who is bitten, when he looks at it, shall live. So Moses made a bronze serpent and put it on a pole, and so it was, if a serpent had bitten anyone, when he looked at the bronze serpent, he lived. Amen. You may be seated, the grass withered, flower thereof faded, but by God shall stand abide and endure forever. I want to anchor down in those verses in particular, that story in general, and talk about look up and lead.
Okay. Come on, Pops.
Amen. Look up and you are changing our focus. Changing our focus. In times like these, we need to look up to the Lord. And I think it will make a vast difference, not only in our lives, but in our world.
Amen.
This nation and our world in general lately have been bombarding us with data and facts and information numbers and all of that statistics concerning this pandemic caused by the coronavirus.
My God, my God.
It's more than an epidemic.
Yeah, yeah.
It is a pandemic, which says that it's not confined to a certain area. Epidemic is in a certain area, but a pandemic is all over the place. And that's why they call it a pandemic. It's all over the place. There's constant coverage around the clock. Anytime you look at your TV, hear the radio, they're going to say something about this coronavirus. It's constant coverage around the clock with an effort to educate the public on taking measures to be safe and to prevent the continued spread of this virus. It is a sad state of affairs that our world is in. It's hurting everybody, not just a certain group, but everybody. Now, we seem to know the physical origin of this virus, where it started in China, in that place, but they have gotten that under control now. They say there are no more new cases where it started, which suggests that it's starting to be controlled. Amen. So we know the physical origin of this virus, but I can't help but wonder, is there some other reason this is unleashed on humanity in such a time as this? Could there be another reason? Could it be that the people of this world have created such an environment that it takes some kind of divine intervention to get our attention? Could this be humanity's fault? Well, if so, then I need to share with us that we are not the originators of such behavior. Moses had a similar problem with the Israelites. In the story in our text, they had been complaining about their journey in the wilderness. They complained because they had no water. They complained because of the evil they had been exposed to. All of those enemies and folk fighting against them and trying to halt their progress, stop them from getting to where God wanted them to go. They complained about all of that. And they complained about the lack of food. They were impatient. They were uncontrollable. I think I'm talking about the Israelites. And they griped and complained all along the way. And on top of all of that, their journey included some difficult obstacles that they would have to take, if you read the story, an alternate route to get to the promised land. Shouldn't have taken them no more than 5 to 10 days. And it takes 40 years. They took a bypass that led them to Mount Hor. Amen. H-O-R. The Israelites continued on their journey, which took them by the Red Sea. I hope you're following me. And at that point, they were becoming impatient. And they spoke against God. No food. No water. Deplorable conditions. made them rebel. They rebelled because of mundane, earthly, materialistic stuff. So in response to their rebelliousness, God caused some fiery serpents. Let's just call it what it is, some snakes. God caused some snakes to bite them. I mean, these are poisonous snakes. Fiery means they had poison in them. He called these fiery or poisonous snakes to bite them. These snakes bit Israelites, and then they wanted to get back to the Moses they talked against. Somebody didn't hear me. Yeah, they were bitten by these snakes. God is trying to help Moses out here and hear them say, let's go back to the point of error. Somebody didn't hear me. Let's get back to where things went wrong with us. I think I'm talking about the Israelites. And you need to figure out what things went wrong with you and get back to the point of error. This stuff didn't start happening till we start talking against God and against Moses. So let's go fix this thing. They went back to Moses and hear them say to Moses, Moses, we got a confession to make. We have sinned. So therefore, they asked Moses, why don't you ask God to give us some relief from these fiery serpents? We know we're not in the right fellowship with him. We talked against him too. We need somebody who can get a word through to God. We need somebody who can get a prayer to God. We messed up and our prayer life is living. It's in ICU. We need somebody who got a direct line to the one who can help us. Moses, can you thank God for us? And ask him to lift this thing up off of us. Moses went and talked to God. And he did get a prayer through. And God gave Moses instructions. And Moses, at God's instructions, then made a bronze serpent, put it on a pole. He told them, look up, look at the snake, look at the bronze serpent on the pole, and you will be saved. Help me somebody. Instead of looking down, they started looking up in order to live. You got to look up in order to live. So they looked up, they looked past their griping, and they focused on the bigger picture. Somebody gonna hear me after a while. And their suffering ended because they had directed their thoughts toward God. When they looked up, they directed their thoughts toward God. Well, what does this say to us during our time of crisis? During this pandemic of this coronavirus, what should we do?
Help us.
Three things I want to share with you briefly, very briefly, and then I'll be through with this message. They're not detailed points, but you'll get the message. Three things, and then we'll be through. Are you interested? If you look closely at what they did, the first thing they had to do was focus on God. If you're going to have some relief from what's going on negative around you, you got to focus on God. Listen, faith in God can and will satisfy us when we focus on God rather than focusing on the things that irritate us and cause us worry and despair. They got irritated with their wilderness wandering. They journeyed. They got in despair. They couldn't understand all that was going on. And they got off track when they focused on that and took their focus off of God. But when you focus on God, God will satisfy you in spite of the things that are going wrong in your life. Look, this is a real lesson for the church today. We often get so consumed, if you will, with our state of affairs. And we give our attention to other things. And some rightfully so, because some deserve some attention. Do I have a witness here? You can't ignore the coronavirus. Help me somebody. You don't need to try to ignore it like you all that and you bad. You don't need nothing. No, don't ignore the coronavirus. Yeah, Pastor Stephen was preaching at the revival at Corinth. He said, don't put your trust in sanitizer. Put your trust in God. And I was standing up behind him. I said, but use it. And so he had to amend his statement. He said, don't put your trust in sanitizer, but use it. And then put your trust in God. And I'm saying to you, your trust can be in God, but use the sanitizer. Hear me, somebody. Because God's business done God's way gets God's results. We'll stop doing God's business God's way and start a panic and a frustration and all of that because of what's going on. Somebody needs to tell the world, yes, we are dealing with this pandemic, but we have a God to handle it. When we focus on God, we'll hear the words of God. We caught it in Jeremiah 33:3. Did you hear him? I was prepared and I heard Jeremiah speak to me. He said, God says, call unto me, and I will answer thee and show thee great and mighty things that thou knowest not. If there ever was a time that we needed God to show us some great and mighty things, that time is now. We need a great God to show us some great and mighty things, to overrule and super-rule and fix some stuff that only He can fix. Do I have a witness here? We should follow the actions of the Israelites. Look up and live. Not only should we focus on God, but secondly, we need to have faith in God. Yeah, faith. Don't dismiss your faith in times like these. Faith in God can bring about our healing. Yes, faith in God. Belief, trust, faith in God. The Lord says to His people in 2 Chronicles chapter 7, y'all know that 14 verse. I just want to put out a part. He said, if you do these things, I will hear from heaven. And then He says, I will heal the land. Oh my goodness. I almost shouted right there. Hey, we need God to heal the land. He said, He'll do it if my people listen. It's conditional. It's a conjunction of condition. It's conditional. God at times operates on what I call the divine principle of reciprocation. In other words, if you, then I. If you, then I. If you do something, then I'll do something. You got to show God that you have the faith to believe. If you, then I. Can until he was asked. He would have slipped right on. But they had to learn a faith lesson. You need to learn you are not handling this storm, but you got a storm handler on board. And until you come to me, then I won't do anything. Poisonousness. There was no more snake bite. When they looked up, there was no more. The pain of the Israelites had been relieved. Won't he do it? Won't he relieve some pain? Won't he lighten some load? Won't he lift some heavy burden? Won't he make your enemy your footstool? Won't he do it? Won't he make you more than a conqueror? Won't he do it? Won't he make straight the way? If you look unto him, he'll do some things for you. Quit thinking you can handle it all by yourself. You're not equipped to handle all of that stuff. Trust in the Lord. Think of how smoothly the church would run if people would quit complaining and quit fretting and just have faith in God to bring about the changes that we need. And we need some changes. Let me hurry up and say, you might not see it from where I stand, but from where I stand, I see it. We need some changes. We need some real changes. We need to do something other than just going through the regular motions. Other than business as usual. We need some changes. Do I have a witness here? And God can bring about those changes. What if people would practice encouraging one another? What if believers would practice praying for one another, building up one another? The book says on your most holy faith and building up our trust in God. Our God is able to heal. If we trust him, he's able to heal. Faith in him will bring about our healing. He's able to deliver. I'm not just talking Bible talk. I got some witnesses up in here that can testify that God is able to deliver. God is able to heal. God is able to restore. Somebody will hear me after a while. God is able to turn things around. He's able to change some stuff. He's able to give you your much needed breakthrough. He's able, if you have faith in God, God can heal some things in your life. Focus on God. Have faith in God. I'm going to leave you alone when I tell you, faith in God is enhanced when we turn to God. I'm just in the text, that's all. Amen. Not trying to be fancy and all of that, but our faith is enhanced when we turn to God. Help me somebody. It's elevated, that's enhanced. It's magnified, enhanced. It's intensified. All of that can be interchanged with enhanced. It can do that when we turn to God. When we turn away from our problems and turn towards God, our faith will be enhanced. It will be magnified. You need to get that. It will be elevated to another level. To elevate is to go to another level. To go higher. If you want your faith to go to another level, turn to God. Some of you wonder why I can't have faith like so-and-so. Why my faith is not, well, turn to God even more. And he will elevate your faith. Look, it happens when you turn to God. Yeah, now that's examples in the word. Well, let me just pull one, might be a feeble example, but it's one nonetheless. The prophet Isaiah. Isaiah had such an experience in the year that King Uzziah died. Somebody gonna hear me after a while. Yeah, King Uzziah died, and the people of God were in disarray. Things were not right. Uzziah was a good king. Hear me, somebody. He was a prosperous king. He was fruitful in his reign as king. He wasn't a bad man. But when he died, that's the year that Isaiah decided, I'm going to stop looking at and start looking up. Help me, somebody. And when he turned towards God, it appears his faith was elevated. In so many words, Isaiah said, I can lick this thing. Help me, somebody. In so many words, he said, I can beat this. I don't have to be in despair. I don't have to be down. I don't have to go along with these people who are not excited about anything. I'm not going under. I'm going over. Isaiah, in so many words, said, I can see clearly now. He turned towards God and he said, I know what the source of the problem is, Isaiah said. And the problem is I'm unclean. I'm a man of unclean lips. And guess what? Ain't the only one. Everybody I hang with is just like me. All the people got uncleanness and all of that in their heart. I finally see clearly what the problem is, but because I turn toward God, I also see the solution. Now the question is, am I going to be a part of the solution? Am I going to sit idly by and hope somebody else step in and take over? So when God said, whom shall I send? And who will go? Isaiah say, I've got to take responsibility for what I know. Here am I. Send me. I'll go. If you need a spokesman, Isaiah said, that's me. If you need somebody to stand in the gap, Isaiah said, that's me. If you need a man to tell the people where they have gone wrong, that's me. I'll take the criticism. I'll take all that they throw at me. But I can see clearly. And I know that you got a better way. You have a more excellent way. So if you need somebody, such as I have, give I unto thee. Here am I, Lord. Please send me. Never got a witness here. He turned toward God. And I know that God can lick this problem if we turn toward Him. The song says it's better. Things are going to get better. Who is that, Reverend? Things are going to get better. It's going to get better.
Let's go.
Hezekiah Walker. If y'all ain't heard it, y'all need to hear it. And it's going to get better. And you need to make that your song. And don't walk around with your head down. It's going to get better. Yeah. Now let me say it again. It feels good. It's going to get better. I feel something right down here. It's going to get better. Somebody needs to hear me say, it's going to get better. Not as bad as it could be right now. It's pretty good. But if you look toward God, it's going to get better. You know what comes after better, don't you? God's best. Hey! Somebody say better. Oh, bless his name. Turn toward God. But look, I'm about through. Turning towards God requires action. We must turn and then look. You didn't hear me. Don't just turn, but look. And don't just look, but focus. Turn, look, focus. To have faith is to turn from our problems, our ills, our situations, and turn to the one who is the source of life. So have faith is to look and open our eyes to the very presence of God. He's here. He's here. I declare, he's here. I'm making that announcement and declaration right now. He's here. You don't have to wait on him to stop by. Song of yesterday, he's saying, Kumbaya, come by here, dear Lord, come by here. No, he's already here. He was here when I got here. Help me somebody. He's here right now. Yeah. Where 2 or 3 gathered in my name. There I am in the midst of him. Welcome Jesus to your house. You're always, our doors and our hearts are always open to you. Come right on in. Make yourself at home. Open our eyes to the presence of God. Have faith is to focus. Adjust our lenses and see more clearly. Look, it really wasn't the bronze serpent the Israelites were focused on. Can I drop something on you? It was a greater power beyond the serpent. Since the snake, now bronze and harmless, had been immobilized, the Israelites could see beyond and focus totally on God. When they looked up and saw the bronze serpent, they knew that serpent couldn't harm. They were worried about the ones on the ground. They didn't have to worry about the one lifted up. Somebody didn't hear me. That'll drop in on somebody somewhere. And so, since it's immobilized, they can look beyond that harmless bronze serpent. By the way, bronze is the color of judgment, and God has some judgment on him, but he's about to lift that judgment with the bronze serpent. If you look up, I lift it up off of you, and you'll be saved, you'll be healed, you'll be made whole. There's no more judgment on you.
All right.
They can look beyond that and focus on God. Well, it just so happens that the actions of Moses are referred to by Jesus in the Gospel of John. John chapter 3, verse 14. And Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness. So shall the Son of Man be lifted up. Somebody go here. This is shouting time right here. This is hallelujah right here. Jesus tells Nicodemus that when he is lifted up, when Jesus is lifted up on the cross, people will be focused on him for salvation. All they got to do is look up. Not that they became fixated on the cross, but that they see beyond the cross, where? To the resurrection. The cross is not the end of it all. The cross is not where you park at. The cross is not your destination. The cross is on the way to your destination, but you can't get there until you come through the cross. The cross is important. The cross is the pivot of what turned man around. You got to have a cross to get to the crown. Somebody didn't hear me. We talk about we shall wear a crown. And when I get to heaven, I'm going to put on my robe. I'm going to put on my shoes and all that kind of stuff. You can't do any of that until you come by Calvary. Because victory is won at Calvary. At Calvary, he bruises the serpent's head. Somebody didn't hear me. That serpent was still biting folk. that serpent was still poisonous. That serpent was still harmful. You know who the serpent really is, don't you? It's the devil. He was doing all of that. And so Jesus has to bruise the serpent's head. He has to put him under his feet. And he does that when he lifted up on Calvary's cross. If I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. And when they arrested Jesus, you don't see him fighting. You don't see him struggling. You don't see him resisting. He just went right along because God had a master plan that included a Calvary. And Calvary included bruising the serpent's head. And Jesus went on with those who arrested him. I wonder if I got a witness here. And when he went with him, God was coming to the end of his plan of redemption. I want to there for you. A plan of redemption. And when they got Jesus all by himself, the Bible says he never said a mumbling word. Oh Lord, they took my Lord and tried him unjustly. They condemned him to die by crucifixion. That's all right, because that's all in the plan. Have I got a witness? If they don't crucify him, he don't bruise the serpent head. If he don't bruise the serpent head, we have no salvation. Oh Lord, and Jesus went along with it. Peter tried to stop it, but you can't stop God's master plan. They nailed his hands, they riveted his feet, they stretched him wide, they hung him high, and they dropped him low. Anybody here know that he died? He died until heaven got the news. He died until God was satisfied and the debt was paid. They put him in a borrowed tomb. Like he said he would, but I got good news from the graveyard right early. He got up on Sunday morning with all power in his hands. All you gotta do is look up and live. That's all the preacher's trying to get you to do. That's all Big Mama trying to get you to do. That's all they trying to get you to do. When they talk with you about changing your life, they wanted you to look up. Now I got a witness. I heard Dr. P.W. McClendon in Waco, Texas, at the March Board, talked about he'd been to different denominations, and all of them trying to get him to look up because they knew he was a rascal, and he kept ignoring, and they kept on chiseling until one day he said, I looked up. Hey, Lord, and when he looked up, God made a difference in his life. I guess I ought to poll the house. Is there anybody here who's taken that look? Is there anybody here who looked unto Jesus? Is there anybody here who tried my Lord? Ain't he all right? Ain't he all right? Say yeah, say yeah, say yeah, say yeah. I know you're all right. Ain't he all right? Ain't he all right? Ain't he all right? Ain't he all right? All right. All right. All right. Hey, Lord. The way to change my deal is to turn towards God. First turning, then looking up, then focusing on the Almighty God. Helen Lemmel wrote a song, set it to music. And she named it Turn Your Eyes Up on Jesus.
All right.
First verse says, O soul, are you weary and troubled? No light in the darkness you see. There's light for a look at the Savior. And life more abundant and free. And then she gets to the refrain and said, turn your eyes up on Jesus. Look full in his wonderful face. And things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and his grace.
Yeah.
Just a look.
Just a look.
Somebody needs to take a look right now.
Yeah.
We extend to you the privilege of the open door. The invitation, Christian commitment, Christian discipleship. We invite you to Jesus Christ.
Yes, God.
Somebody ought to look to the Lord and be saved. Receive him as your personal Lord and Savior. Sonia, while you're getting toward the wall, get toward the mic. And he'll work it out. Somebody.
I have a faith
All right.
that sees the invisible.
That's all right. That's all right.
Inspect the incredible. Receive the impossible. Faith
Yeah.
that can conquer
That's it.
anything. Faith that'll bruise
Somebody.
my problem.
Somebody.
Faith to know that God can solve it. Faith to vision my freedom. I have faith that can conquer anything. Faith to reach the unreachable. Faith to fight the unbeatable. Faith to remove the unmovable. Faith that stands invisible. Faith that can conquer to reach the unreachable, faith to move the unmovable, faith to move the unreachable, faith that stands invisible. I said, faith.
Amen. God bless you. We hope and pray it is well with your soul. Hold on. Just have faith. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
All right, all right, all right. All right.
That's the way you handle these kind of situations. You put some oil on. Put some oil, some anointing on. Amen. Change your focus. Look up and leave.